Imagine stepping outside tonight. You look up at the sky, expecting to see the familiar river of stars stretching across the heavens. The Milky Way, a glowing band that has illuminated Earth's nights for billions of years. But tonight, it's gone. Not hidden by clouds, not washed away by city lights. Simply, gone. At first, you think your eyes are playing tricks on you. You blink, you look again, nothing. Where thousands upon thousands of stars should be, there is only darkness. Within minutes, people across the world begin posting strange photos online. Can anyone else see the Milky Way? Is my camera broken? Why is the sky empty? Astronomers rush to their observatories. Massive telescopes scan the heavens. The results are impossible. The Milky Way has vanished. Not faded, not dimmed, vanished. The galaxy is still there, but every visible star beyond our solar system has gone dark. Across Earth, panic slowly begins to spread. Millions gather outside. Children ask their parents why the stars have disappeared. No one has an answer. The world's greatest observatories compare data. NASA, ESA, JAXA, every space agency reaches the same terrifying conclusion. This isn't an atmospheric phenomenon. This isn't a telescope malfunction. Something has happened to our entire galaxy. And somehow, Earth is witnessing it in real time. Scientists immediately begin asking the most important question. Has every star actually gone dark, or has their light somehow disappeared? There's a huge difference. If the stars truly died, then countless planets have just lost their suns. Entire civilizations, if they exist, could already be freezing in eternal darkness. But if only the light has vanished, then something even stranger is happening. The laws of physics themselves may have changed. As the hours pass, another disturbing discovery is made. Constellations begin disappearing one after another. Orion, Cassiopeia, Cygnus, Scorpius. Every familiar pattern fades into nothingness. For thousands of years, sailors navigated by those stars. Ancient civilizations built monuments aligned with them. Humanity wrote myths, songs, and legends inspired by them. Now, they're all gone. For the first time in human history, people look into space and feel truly alone. Then, astronomers notice something impossible. One object in the sky is still shining. Our sun. It burns as brightly as ever. Earth is still warm. Daylight is completely normal. Nothing within our solar system seems to have changed. Which raises an even more terrifying question. If the sun is still alive, why is every other star in the Milky Way dark? The answer may reveal something far more frightening than the death of a galaxy. Because perhaps the stars didn't disappear. Perhaps something is hiding them. And whatever is large enough to hide an entire galaxy is far beyond anything humanity has ever imagined. The world doesn't sleep. Every observatory, every space telescope, every scientist is searching for an explanation. How can hundreds of billions of stars simply disappear? At first, theories spread everywhere. Some believe a massive cloud of cosmic dust has somehow covered the Milky Way. Others think an unknown type of dark matter is absorbing every photon of light. Some even wonder if humanity has become trapped inside an enormous cosmic simulation, and someone has simply turned the galaxy off. But then, the data arrives. Radio telescopes begin scanning the invisible galaxy. If the stars are still alive, they should continue emitting radio waves. For hours, scientists wait. Finally, the signals return. And they change everything. The stars are still there. They're still burning. They're still producing enormous amounts of energy. But almost none of their visible light is reaching Earth. It's as if something across the galaxy is swallowing light itself. Not blocking it, erasing it. Then another terrifying discovery is made. The darkness isn't limited to visible light. Large portions of infrared radiation, ultraviolet light, and even X-rays have also disappeared. Something is consuming almost the entire electromagnetic spectrum. No known object in the universe can do that. Not black holes, not neutron stars, not even dark matter, as we understand it. The Milky Way has become invisible. As panic grows, the psychological effects begin. For thousands of years, people have looked at the stars for comfort. Explorers crossed oceans guided by them. Poets wrote about them. Entire religions connected them to the meaning of life. Now, the night sky is almost empty. Without realizing it, humanity begins to change. Astronomers report feelings of isolation unlike anything they've experienced before. Children born after the event grow up without ever seeing the Milky Way. They read about it in books, but to them, it's just another lost wonder. Cities become quieter after sunset. Fewer people go outside at night. The universe suddenly feels much smaller, and much lonelier. Then, astronomers studying nearby galaxies notice something impossible. Andromeda still shines. The Triangulum galaxy still shines. Billions of distant galaxies remain visible exactly as before. Only one galaxy, our own, has gone dark. The realization sends chills through the scientific community. Whatever caused this, it specifically targeted the Milky Way. Not the universe. Not all galaxies. Just ours. Then, a deep space probe near the edge of the solar system sends back its latest images. The probe is looking outward, away from Earth. What it sees is impossible. Beyond the solar system, there is no glowing galaxy anymore. Instead, an enormous wall of absolute darkness stretches across space. No stars. No light. Just a gigantic black veil surrounding the Milky Way like a shell. Scientists estimate its size. It isn't thousands, or millions, of kilometers wide. It surrounds an entire galaxy over 100,000 light-years across. Humanity has never imagined anything so immense. Then one final transmission arrives from the probe. Its instruments detect movement. The black veil isn't standing still. It's slowly moving inward, toward the center of the Milky Way. And our solar system lies directly in its path. The mysterious black veil continues moving. Not quickly, not violently, but steadily, like an endless wave swallowing the galaxy one star at a time. Astronomers compare new observations every hour. The invisible boundary has advanced. Another cluster of stars has disappeared. Then another. The darkness isn't random, it's spreading, like an infection. No one knows what it's made of. No one knows where it came from. One thing is certain, it obeys no known law of physics. Then, Earth begins receiving strange signals. Not from the darkness. From inside it, deep space radio observatories detect repeating pulses unlike anything ever recorded. They aren't natural, they're too precise. Every pulse arrives at exactly the same interval. Every frequency follows a mathematical pattern. Prime numbers, Fibonacci sequences, perfect geometric ratios. This isn't noise. Someone, or something, is communicating. Within days, the signal becomes the biggest scientific discovery in history. Linguists, physicists, AI systems, all work together trying to decode it. Weeks pass. Nothing. Then, an artificial intelligence notices something no human did. The signal isn't a language. It's a map. A three-dimensional map. As scientists reconstruct it, the room falls silent. The map shows the Milky Way. Every spiral arm. Every major star cluster. Even the position of our solar system. But something else appears. Thousands, then millions, of tiny glowing points. They don't represent stars. They represent civilizations. Every intelligent civilization in the galaxy, marked one by one. Then, the glowing points begin disappearing, exactly matching the advance of the black veil. Humanity isn't watching stars disappear. It's watching civilizations vanish, one after another, without a single distress signal, without a single explosion, simply gone. The realization is horrifying. Whatever is consuming the galaxy has already reached countless worlds before ours. Earth isn't the first. We're simply next. Governments stop hiding the truth. The message is broadcast across every television, every radio station, every satellite. For the first time in history, all nations unite. Not against each other, against the unknown. Huge telescopes are aimed toward the approaching darkness. Then, they finally see it. Inside the black veil, there are shapes. Enormous shapes. Not stars. Not planets. Something far larger. Objects so immense they block entire star systems as they move. No engines, no light, no heat, just colossal silhouettes drifting through the darkness. Some appear larger than planetary systems. Others stretch for light years. They move with terrifying precision, like a fleet crossing the galaxy. No one can explain them. No known civilization could build something so vast. Then, one of those enormous silhouettes changes direction. Slowly, it turns. Not toward another star, not toward the galactic center. Toward us. Toward the solar system. And for the first time, scientists realize something even more terrifying. The darkness was never expanding randomly. It was searching. And after crossing nearly 100,000 light-years of the Milky Way, it has finally found Earth. The object keeps approaching, not at the speed of light, not like a comet, but with perfect, silent precision. Every telescope on Earth follows its movement. The closer it gets, the stranger it appears. It has no engines, no exhaust, no reflected sunlight. It doesn't even cast a shadow. It simply absorbs everything around it. Even space itself seems to bend. For the first time in history, humanity witnesses something that should not exist. Then, the impossible happens. The object stops, just outside our solar system. It doesn't attack. It doesn't send weapons. It simply waits. Days pass. Nothing happens. Then, every radio telescope on Earth detects the same signal. Not thousands of frequencies. Just one. A single pulse. Repeating once every 60 seconds. Artificial intelligence systems around the world begin decoding it. Hours later, they succeed. The message contains only 7 words. You are the last light of the galaxy. Silence fills every control room. Scientists stare at the screen, unable to speak. The message doesn't threaten humanity. It warns us. Suddenly, everything begins to make sense. The darkness wasn't destroying stars. It was hiding them, one by one. Every civilization in the Milky Way had chosen to extinguish its own light. Not because they lost, because they were hiding. For millions of years, something far older than our galaxy has been traveling between galaxies, searching for intelligent life. Every civilization that remained visible, eventually disappeared. Only those that learned to become invisible, survived. The Milky Way didn't die. It went dark on purpose. Humanity is the only civilization that never received the warning. Our sun still shines. Our radio broadcasts still race into space. Our satellites continue sending signals. Every city glows brightly every night. From deep space, Earth is a beacon, a lighthouse in a galaxy that deliberately turned off its lights. Then, astronomers notice the object moving again. This time, toward the sun. Not fast, not aggressively, just slowly enough to make every second unbearable. People gather outside. For the first time, the entire planet watches the same sunrise, wondering if it might be the last. Then, without any explosion, without any sound, without any warning, the sun disappears. Not destroyed, not extinguished, hidden, as if an invisible curtain has wrapped around it. Day instantly becomes night. The stars do not return. The Milky Way remains black. Only Earth's cities continue glowing beneath an endless, empty sky. Then, one by one, the lights of every city begin shutting off. Governments order a complete global blackout. Satellites power down. Radio stations fall silent. Airplanes land. Ships extinguish their navigation lights. Within hours, Earth becomes invisible. For the first time in human history, our planet joins the darkness. The mysterious object remains motionless for several minutes. Then, it slowly turns away. Without a sound, it vanishes into the black galaxy. Moments later, the sun reappears. Daylight floods the Earth once again. The Milky Way returns. Billions of stars light up the heavens as if nothing had ever happened. To everyone, it feels like a miracle. But astronomers know the truth. The galaxy never lost its light. It was protecting itself. And humanity learned the most terrifying lesson in the history of the universe. Sometimes, survival doesn't belong to the brightest civilization. It belongs to the one that knows when to disappear.